Sentence pattern 3, the colon. In sentence pattern 1, we took a look at the semicolon. Last time, we made sure not to confuse the semicolon with the colon. In sentence pattern 3, we will take a look at the use of the colon. There are a few different ways that a writer can use a colon, but we will focus on the use of a colon to signal that something important or explanatory will follow. Sentence pattern 3 is a compound sentence with an explanatory statement joined by a colon. Remember, a compound sentence is one that includes two independent clauses, and an independent clause is a clause that can stand alone or independently as a complete sentence. So this sentence pattern includes two independent clauses joined by a colon. And this pattern has an explanatory statement, one that specifies or explains something broad or vague in the first independent clause. The first statement will contain a word or idea that needs explaining. The second statement will give some specific information or example about that idea. Take a look at this example. The bouquet was special. It contained the roses she loved best. The first clause, the bouquet was special, is an independent clause that is somewhat vague. Why is the bouquet special? What makes it so special? The second independent clause, it contained the roses she loved best, gives an answer to that question of what is so special about the bouquet. It is special because it contained her favorite roses. You might notice that the first word after the colon is capitalized in this example. That might seem strange to capitalize a word mid-sentence. However, it is acceptable to capitalize the first word following a colon as long as it is an independent clause. I mentioned that there are other ways to use a colon. One other way involves listing in the form of a dependent clause. In that case, a writer should not capitalize the first letter after the colon. However, in this pattern, we are dealing with independent clauses only, so it is acceptable, but not mandatory, to capitalize the first word after the colon. Let's read some more examples together. I'll start by reading the first statement alone so that we can see the special relationship between the first and second independent clauses. The empty coffin in the center of the crypt had a single horrifying meaning. The question is, what is that meaning? Why is the empty coffin in the center of the crypt horrifying? Here's the second part of the sentence. Dracula had left his tomb to stalk the village streets in search of fresh blood. Okay, now we know exactly what the single horrifying meaning is. The coffin is empty because the person who was once in it is no longer lying dead. He is walking in the streets. That certainly clarifies things. Here's another. Remember Yogi Berra's advice. Okay, the question is, what is that advice? Here's the second part of this sentence. It ain't over till it's over. The first part of the sentence identifies the topic, Yogi Berra's advice. The second part of the sentence clarifies the piece of advice that is in need of remembrance. Sentence pattern 3 probably seems very similar to sentence pattern 1. However, they perform different functions. Pattern 1 uses a semicolon to join two closely related statements. Pattern 3 uses a colon to indicate that an explanatory statement will follow the first statement. Do not use this pattern with a colon unless the second statement is related to and amplifies the first. When I'm done giving directions, stop the video and complete each of the following sentences with an independent clause. If the first clause is missing, provide a general statement. If the second clause is missing, add an explanation.